The Hollow Hearth. 1. The Vicar's Wife. In the spring of 1871, the village of Marrow Ridge buzzed with distrust. They whispered behind lace curtains that Mrs. Eliza Vale, the young wife of the vicar, was not like the rest of them. She came from Massachusetts, where fires burned bright and rumors of witches still lingered like the scent of smoke. Her hands were always warm. Too warm, some said. Flowers grew faster where she walked. She never prayed aloud. 2. A village in mourning. It began with a stillbirth, then a barn fire, then a farmer dead in his sleep, his body twisted like burnt roots. By midsummer, 7 villagers had died, all in strange and sudden ways. And each time Eliza had been near. She's cursed, they whispered. Even Father Vale, once so firm in his love, began to flinch when Eliza touched him. 3. The family tree. Eliza's ancestry had always been a point of contention. She came from a long line of women without graves. Mothers, aunts, daughters all marked by early deaths or disappearances. What little she knew came from her grandmother, who once told her, "The fire never dies in our blood, child. It just goes to sleep until it's needed." She had thought it a metaphor. Now, in this land of gray skies and sharp stares, she wondered. For the accusation. It was Ethel Bray, the butcher's wife, who cried, "Witch." During Sunday service, she stood and screamed that Eliza had hexed her son, turned his blood to ink and his eyes to glass. The boy was found stiff and cold that morning, his tongue bitten clean through. The congregation gasped. Eliza stood slowly and said only, "I never touched your son." But her eyes gleamed with something ancient. 5. The trial. They called it a hearing, but it was a trial in every sense. The townsfolk gathered in the chapel. A fire was lit in the hearth. One by one they testified. She read strange books. She boiled roots and herbs. The milk soured when she walked past. Eliza did not weep. She stared into the flames and remembered her grandmother's voice again. "We do not burn. We ignite." 6. The fire in the hearth. When they asked her to confess, Eliza walked to the hearth. She placed her hand into the flame. The room gasped. Her skin did not blister. Her hair did not burn. She turned to the crowd and said, "I am the hearth." Then the fire leapt from the stones. It licked the walls, kissed the floorboards, danced up the wooden beams. The villagers ran screaming. But Eliza stood untouched in the center. And she was smiling. 7. The Vicar's Choice. Father Vale stood alone at the chapel's back, ash smudging his collar. He had loved her. He still did. But love was a brittle thing here. He raised a Bible with one hand and a match with the other. But when he looked at her, really looked, he saw not a demon, but a woman tired of being silent. The match fell to the ground unlit. 8. Aftermath. By morning the chapel was cinders. Eliza was gone. Some say she turned to smoke. Others say she walked into the woods, flames trailing behind her like a bridal veil. The death stopped. No one replaced the hearth. The village stayed cold ever after. 9 years later, a child named Grace Vale, with her mother's green eyes and hands that made saplings bloom in snow, appeared years later in a distant village, adopted by strangers. She spoke softly, never raised her voice, but she often sat too close to the fire, and the fire always bent toward her like an old friend.